and I'm pushing this way. It's like a door that opens that hinges on the thumb side right now. All right? So now what I want you guys to do, well, first of all, when I do that motion, which way does his body want to go? That direction, all right? So what I want you to do this time is the same thing, but the second you feel tension, when you start to feel the tension, stop pushing forward and use this hand to pull back, all right? So my left hand was primary, and this was my support hand, my fulcrum. The second I feel tension, instead of trying to muscle through it, I just reverse what I'm doing. I reverse which hand is primary. So we call it primary reversal, right? This hand's primary, I feel tension, and I pull with this hand. Does that look familiar to anybody? All right? That motion looks familiar. So I come up, I catch, I start to do the technique, and I feel tension, and I'm just going to pull back, standard Shuri-Te. All I'm doing is letting this fulcrum that I made do the action instead of the top hand. When the fingers are up on a wrist lock, your opponent wants to go away from the fingers. Well, doesn't matter which way it's pointing. If his fingers are up, he wants to go down. If the fingers are in, he wants to go that way. If the fingers are out, he wants to go that way. All right? So, let me just demonstrate. Here, he wants to go that direction. Here, he wants to go that direction. All right? So what I want you to do now is think about whichever way I'm facing when I get into the start position, that's my north. All right? That's my north. My partner is going to tell me, give me a compass direction. One of the 8. Don't go north, 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 south. Something weird. Give me he wants to go east. All right? So, I've got to go, that's my east, right? Doesn't matter where the real compass is. So, how do I got to get him there? Where do his fingers need to go? They need to go this way, all right? But if I just go this way and use my left hand, his body wants to go that way. So, to throttle this, the direction I need to take him, I need to do primary reversal in addition to spooling that. Make sense? So your task is to get in the start position, you're facing north, and your partner's gonna tell you where to go. And then you're gonna try to, okay, if I'm in this sphere, the Western Hemisphere, I need to point the fingers the opposite direction. Then I need to figure out if it's northwest, I've got to use the top hand. If it's southwest, which hand do I got to use? The bottom hand. Make sense? Sure. If it's the Eastern Hemisphere, I've got to point the fingers the opposite way. If I want to take him northeast, which hand needs to be primary? Top hand. Good. If I need to go to the southeast, this hand needs to be primary. Make sense? All right. This one's going to be like I'm coming in with Pac-Man. We call this high five. I'm coming in right to right or left to left. I don't want to grab low because he can just grab low. I want to be up here to where I'm pushing that pinky behind the ring finger. All right? So, not every mnemonic works for every person. So I gave that first deal where fingers point, they go the opposite way. The other way I often describe this is his forearm's an arrow and his elbow is an arrowhead. All right? So maybe this one's better for you, whichever one works for you, or if you come up with something else, that's fine. But if I point his fingers inside, his elbow goes out. If I point his fingers outside, his elbows go in. So what I want you to do next is I want you to work on this. I'm doing this motion. It's like I'm tightening the lid on the jar, and then I point his elbow where I want him to go. Wherever I want him to go, I point his elbow that way, all right? Right now I'm only using the one hand just so our fine camera crew here, this must be in 3B, 3 here looks okay. But in reality, if I was actually doing a technique, I'd want to be touching with the other hand. And when I'm touching with the other hand, primary reversals. I pull them to me, right? Or I can push them and pull. So that's the reversal, is I'm using this to reverse them around, all right? Everybody do a few reps of that. Again, you're coming in, Darth Vader, grabbing here, and do some with the top hand, some with the bottom hand. I want you to play with this a little bit from this position. I want you to try from this position to make your opponent take a step. And then I want you to crowd them so one foot is in the way of the other foot. Does that make sense? All right. So I make him take that step, and then I crowd him to where he's having to do the Nahanchi walk, right? He's not going to be able to regain composure in the encounter if I bring him here and then crowd him, right? And then I might be able to bring him back, and his balance is completely off in there. Right. Next thing I want to talk about is what we call bridging, all right? What bridging is I give the person something, I give them some foundation to build a bridge upon, to resist us. And I do that deliberately. But it's like the bridge over the River Kwai. We're going to blow that stupid thing up, all right? So what I want you to do with your partner is you can do either of the last two techniques we've done, right? But I want you to get in here, get in position, and then I want you to push on these massive muscles in the forearm, right? His are bigger than mine, so I shouldn't be giving them grief. But I want you to push on this. Don't crank this to the point of them going down. I want you to just put initial pressure and push on this to where see how he's bridging up? He's pushing my shoulder up. All right, that's bridging. Now, as long as I keep this pressure here, the second I let go, the second I relax, he relaxes. And guess what he does? He does primary reversal for me. The second, if I push down and let go, he lifts his arm and he does primary reversal instead of me having to do it. Does that make sense? All right, so come in, get in your position, get just a little bit of tension, don't take him all the way to the ground, and push right on that big muscle. Let him push up, and then relax. Take your hand right off of it, and he'll do primary reversal for you. All right. Think about a hinge, right? The hinge is normally attached to the frame. Where's our carpenter? Mateo over there. It's normally attached to the frame, right? And this side goes with the door. Basically what we're doing is instead of slamming the door, we're slamming the house when we do primary reversal. Does that make sense? That other side is screwed to the door frame, but now we're moving the door frame. So instead of it being right hand open outside, it's now the other way, right? It's right hand open inside. Bidirectional is what kind of door would that be? Revolving, right? You know, you go into the fancy hotel, it's a revolving door. You're going both directions. So when I come in here and bridge, I'm wanting the revolving door. All right, so first of all, we just kind of did this to get used to when I release that pressure, he feels like, oh man, that got tight quick, right? So now, Steve was talking about this. Think about, with this particular technique, like whipping my thumb down into the ground the split second after I release the bridge. After I blow it up, all the dynamite goes flying, and the explosion goes off. I'm pushing down. The second I release, my thumb is going to drop to the ground. All right? If you're already very sensitive, don't give your best kata punch in the world all the way to the ground with your partner, because Bidirectional is not fun. I think some of you have figured that out right now, right? It's the really mean way to do wrist locks. All right, but I want you to do that a few times. Come in, and it doesn't matter if you know all sorts of other wrist locks. Like here's a wrist lock, right? Am I set up the bridge? Everybody seen kata motion here? I've come in here. I'm pushing down, right? If you have one of our Pinan kata, see, I just came off the bridge, right? I was on the bridge. I came off the bridge and turned my body, and he drops to the ground. I'm creating that tension deliberately and then releasing it. All right? So I want to do another little principle concept. Think about this. If you go extension, which muscles are tight in his arm? This side or this side? Top? Are the top muscles doing this? Right? If you do flexion techniques, which side is tight, is contracted? The opposite side. All right? Correct?
Right.
Where's our physiotherapists, doctors, and all that jazz? So, when I'm going in and trying to do an extension wrist lock, which muscles is he naturally fighting me with? The top? The flexors? So which muscles are getting tight? Some are stretching, some are contracting. All right? So when I'm in that position, you got some muscles that are stretching out and some that are tightening, right? What happens if I switch the type of wrist lock I'm doing, extension and flexion? What do these muscles have to do? They've got to switch roles. All right? They've got to switch roles. Can they switch roles at the same speed I switch roles? Probably not. All right? So this is one of those, how do you fix something? I'm in an extension position, but the guy is really, really strong, and I'm cranking in this in extension, flexion. All right? So I just switched. We call this kind of like a heads or tails, polarity, north-south, whatever you want to call it. If I'm trying to do a wrist lock in a flexion position and it's not working, the second I switch it, his muscles, in order to fight me, have to reverse their roles. Which one's contracting? Which one's stretching out? Right? So, what I want you to do is, we're going to go back to that first technique. I'm here. All right? And I want him, he's going to get a little bit tight, and all I'm going to do is switch roles to where now I have a Z lock. All right? I'm bellied up to the bar, he's in a Z, and I just drop him down. All right? So we're going to go extension, he butches up, I just go flexion, and drop him down to the ground. Make sense? I'm going from here, he's fighting me, and I just switch to here, right? And watch your opponent's feet as you do that. What happens to their body? Right. If you look at kata motions, right? Who knows Pinan Godan? Right? This motion, right? Can I borrow you? I'm here. All right. So here I am, and if you don't do Pinan Godan, you can think Sesame Street. What's his count? What's count? The count. Yeah, that's it. The count, right? So Pinan Godan goes here, the count goes here. If I do this motion, right, I am just throwing an upper block with my left hand, and then I'm doing the count, or count chocula if you really like cereal, right? I'm going to throw that elbow over the top. I go up, up, up. We're still in extension. Now we're in deflection, right? Does it make sense? It's that motion. You could be doing a motion where you're doing a flexion technique, right? I've got him in flexion and he's fighting it, and I switch it to where I'm doing the knock on the door, right? Right? Or switch it that way, whatever. But the concept is we're changing, we're going from heads to tails, yin to yang, north to south, whatever you want to call it, polarity, you're flipping it, I don't care what you call it. But the whole thing is, if I'm in extension and I'm feeling that resistance, all I can do, I could actually go more kind of ku-san-ku, right? Or pa-sai kind of motion. I'm here, I come up underneath it, right? And I've got him in flexion, right? All right.